Jesus on the main line. This was an episode. Oh my God. Look at these notes, y'all. Just look. Just look. Just pull up a chair because you're going to be seeing. Look, I can't even get it together. Look. Look at all this shit. Pull up a chair. Pull it up. Pull it up. If you are new here, subscribe. Just do it right now. Do it right now. I got a lot to say. This episode made me holler in a lot of different ways. But we're going to get into it. Subscribe if you are new here. Please turn the post notifications on all. We are on the road to 10K. Thumbs up the video. Y'all know what to do. Y'all been killing it. Y'all been in them comments. Continue to do that. The engagement helps with the video. Helps push it out to get more people to us so we can continue to have the conversation because a lot of shit is going on. Last week's episode was boring to me. This week's episode, yeah, it delivered. We had gamers versus gamers versus gamers versus gamers. That's why this episode was good, because the whole roundtable was gamers coming for gamers. The only part that sucked was the ending that the faithfuls that I can't stand are just stupid. Like, Derek made a case, and I'm so mad because it literally could have worked. But we're going to get into it. Let's go. Y'all already know what we're here for. I know y'all waiting. I'm going to be talking for a while. All right, so we get the Traitors in the turret where we left off last night. And Carolyn is staring a hole through Danielle's face. Let me make sure this shit is recording. Staring a hole through her face and said, let me just cut to it. I done heard you been saying my name. And you trying to get me banished. Danielle says, I'm not. And I'm going to be reading. Somebody in the comments got a little bit, I don't want to say upset, but was like, I read too much or I narrate too much. That's the point. That's a recap. That's what it is. I do recaps. And it keeps me in alignment with what's going on. And there's a lot of things with Traitors that you got to talk about. You can't just gloss over certain things. But Carolyn, she's stating, like, why not just come up to me? And Danielle said, because you didn't come up to me about Jeremy. Which, I mean, considering the fact that she waited all day, Danielle does have a point. But Carolyn ends up saying, yes, I did. Danielle said not until later on in the day. And they start going back and forth. And Rob is pretty much saying, like, we're supposed to be working together. Carolyn says, we're not. She said, I don't believe Rob or Danielle. I don't believe either one of y'all. And she ends up saying that there's no one that she wants to murder more than them two. I said, this girl is unhinged. Carolyn is unhinged. She is so funny. She is funny to me. But Danielle says, look, this is like a family. Rob says the dysfunctional one. I'm like, yeah, because y'all are the worst group of traitors ever. Ciara is still the best traitor to ever play this game. She's the only one that's played the most flawless one. Phaedra was number 2. Phaedra got fucked because Dan fucked her game. If Dan didn't do what he did when he got voted out, Phaedra probably would have skated all the way through. She probably would have. But Phaedra's number 2 for that. But Danielle claims like she's going to make it right today. Like, we can start fresh. I said, Danielle, the damage is already done. You already put her name out there. Like, you can't really do too much because you already made yourself look suspicious anyways. But she starts apologizing to Carolyn. And Rob ends up saying, like, we have to make a plan now. So they start trying to discuss who they're going to murder. And they say we can't murder Ciara or Dolores. Obviously, that would be too obvious. But Rob ends up saying West is a threat and is dangerous to keep in this game. We know. You know that. And Danielle says, but if you kill him, everybody's going to look at you. That is true. But Rob ends up saying the only other option would have to be Bob H because he was onto him. I'm like, he was onto you, though. But we're playing with a bunch of dumb faithfuls that are not playing with a full deck of cards. So this could work. I would have been like, oh, well, he made that hypothetical in the round table about you. And then if he ends up dying, I would have immediately been looking at Rob. It would have, with Wes, I would have been looking at Rob. And with Bob Harper, I would have been looking at Rob. But only one person is thinking like me. But Danielle says, I don't feel good about that. They start talking about alternatives, which was Ivar. Rob says nobody will ever banish him and they should get rid of him. I said, please, because he is a lost cause. Him and Sam, lost cause. But it's between those three and they make their decision. Rob and Danielle give Carolyn a hug and says that we'll see. She ends up saying we'll see if they actually have my back tomorrow. So we get to breakfast. Dolores, Ciara, and Carolyn, they're the first ones to walk in. Dolores feels like if Danielle is murdered, she's going to feel bad because she gave her the shield. And she's hoping that she comes through. Ciara is suspicious of Danielle, though, because of the crying. The overdramatics, it just was not working. But Derek, Britney, and Gabby, they walk in next. Derek ends up asking them, like, if you're a traitor, are you going to take out Rob because of that move that he pulled last night? Yes, you would. I would get rid of him. Like, Derek he's planting those seeds. Like, if Rob walks through this door, he's a traitor. Anybody with a brain would see that. Only a couple people did. But Ciara, she ends up saying that Rob was going for Bob the drag queen because he's a traitor. And that was his way of putting his dick on the table. I'm like, hello? Finally, somebody's getting it. Ciara, you idiots. And that's the thing. A lot of them got his dick in his mouth, in their mouth. I'm like, come on, open your eyes. Ciara literally said this, and what she did later on, and it's crazy to me. Like, do you not understand what you just said? But Derek's like, woo, like somebody's onto it. But he said when Rob walks in, he's a traitor. He says in his confessionals, if Rob walks in, he's a traitor because he should be dead after that move. Correct. And it's bad because I can't stand Derek. Like, well, I don't want to say I can't stand. Yeah, I can't stand him. I wasn't a fan of him on Big Brother. But it's a bad day because I'm rooting for him. Y'all got me rooting for Pig Nose. Like, it's crazy. But Chrishell, Tom, Sam, and guess who else walks in? Rob. Derek said he shouldn't have walked in because, like, him being a faithful pulling off that move is like, you gotta go. And if you ain't gone after what you did, you are a traitor. I said, Rob, you in trouble because you got Derek. Derek is one that can really put together an argument that could get him out of there. But Wes, Ivar, Danielle, and Bob Harper, those are the last four. So they're trying to figure out who it's going to be. Dolores wants Danielle to come through. Derek says Ivar could be in trouble because Bob the drag queen voted for him twice. And Britney's like, if he's gone, she said, will we even notice if he's gone? I'm like, no, because he's useless. Like, Ivar needs to go. But Ciara and Sam, they don't want it to be Bob Harper. So nobody really wants it to be Bob Harper. But guess who comes walking in? Sam, who walked in? Wes, Ivar, and Danielle come walking in. Bob Harper got murdered. So they start a flashback. The girls are upset, obviously. But they flash back. Danielle was trying to get Wes out. Rob was concerned, obviously, because it just would put targets and eyes on him. Essentially, it should. But they agreed to murder Bob Harper. And like I said, I still think it's obvious regardless. Whether it's Wes or Bob, I still will be looking at Rob. But Danielle ends up saying she regrets getting Bob murdered. But the best thing to do with Rob is pretty much let him have all the power. And he essentially ruined everything. I said y'all both did. Well, not even Rob. I don't want to say Rob ruined it because like I said, I still agree with him going for Bob the drag queen because Bob low-key ruined it. He's the one that started the doubt and like putting a traitor in harm's way by doing what he did at that mission. So Rob coming for him, I mean, it's warranted. Maybe it was premature, but it was warranted. Rob was thinking, okay, well, I'm a gamer. These people probably going to bite onto that. But he playing with a bunch of idiots that are literally swallowing him. But Danielle, you went and fucked it up too last week doing what you did. You started running that mouth. You started acting like you was too comfortable, playing sloppy. The only one that was playing right and well was Carolyn. But Carolyn she did what y'all did. She's like, y'all doing the shit, why can't I? But they agreed to murder him, like I said. But Alan comes in to confirm the murder. He teases the mission. Dolores pretty much said, like, Rob was over there packing yesterday. And Tom was sitting there saying, I thought about packing. Gabby said, yeah, because you got all these theories and you too chaotic. You're great for the traitors because you always talking about these theories that no one believes. And he ends up saying, yeah, but I have a lot of evidence sometimes. No, you don't. You don't. But they disperse. And Tom pulls Britney and says his theory about Dolores being a traitor. And Britney's like, no, it's not. It's not her. And he's sitting there, stop. She said, I already got a headache right now sitting here listening to him with these 73 different theories. And it's not even 9 a.m. It's tripping me out. But we get Dolores, Rob, and Ivar talking. Well, Dolores and Rob. Ivar is just there. But Rob ends up asking if, like, who does she suspect as a traitor? And she's like, I'm lost. Like, whatever anybody says at the round table that convinces me, I'll vote that way. It didn't happen. But Rob ends up saying that he thinks he's thinking about Wes because he was so sure that it was Nikki and was going to go after Nikki to make that decision, to make a diversion. And Rob ends up saying that he decided to go after anybody who was a threat, which was Bob, which was the Bobs, obviously, and now Wes. That's what he's saying. I think he said it in his confessionals. I didn't write it down. But Tom, he's running his Dolores theory with Derek and Wes, who don't give a fuck. Derek ends up asking to talk to Wes in front of Tom. I'd have been looking at Derek weird, like, why I can't sit here and talk to y'all while y'all talking. I'd have been like, oh, so you trying to have a secret conversation without me? But Tom is stupid. Tom is dumb. But he gets up and walks away. Derek ends up saying Rob is starting to get mentioned now. And me and you, we're the two in this game that can really press that issue and really try and convince somebody. That is the truth. You talking about two people that can really get some shit going? It's those two. Those two definitely. But he's like, if he's a traitor, the new guy thing, because we're the three new guys that came in, that new guy thing is gone. Like, once he's out, we're sitting pretty. And Wes is like, yeah, but what if he's not? Derek's like, I'm certain he is. I'm glad you are, because you're right. And I'm like, Wes, trust your gut, because you were certain a couple episodes ago. But Derek was saying, like, he's one of the greatest of all time for a reason, obviously. And Wes was like, yeah, like, he's essentially thinking, like, you remotely go in that direction, I will pile on it. Like, if it's seeming like it's a general consensus, I will. So Wes ends up saying, like, in his confessionals that he wants to do it, but he doesn't want to miss, essentially. Like, he knows that if he misses, it could backfire on him, but he knows he has to work with Derek because his hands are tied. Britney is in the kitchen picking Carolyn's brain, and Britney ends up telling her that she's heard Carolyn's name. I said, oh, shit. Because Carolyn is already going to know. Carolyn says, no, she said that she heard Carolyn saying her name. Carolyn says, no, I didn't. And she said, I essentially would come to you if I was doing it. I'm like, would you? But she said, like, tell me. And she said, like, you're the last person that I would ever say. You're the last name that I would ever say. And said that whoever told you this is starting some shit. Which was. But she asked her who said it. And Brittany's like, I don't want to say. Carolyn, like me, immediately knew it was Danielle. Because if you know, it's like what she said. Like, she said, is it somebody that's close to you? And Britney nods. I'm like, yeah, that's what I would have been thinking too. Because the only way that you wouldn't say somebody's name is because you don't want them to go home. And it would obviously be somebody that you're working with. And somebody that you're really close with. And that would be Danielle. Considering, I don't even know if Carolyn watched Reindeer Games. But I guess she's putting 2 and 2 together with Big Brother. But Carolyn says she pissed. Because Danielle said today she was supposed to be clearing my name. And she's supposed to be earning my trust bag. But she's trying to get her banished. That is not true, though. Today, it's not true. But she already did the damage the other day. Carolyn just thinks it's happened today because it's being brought to her today. No, it happened the other day. Danielle already fucked herself. But they're on the way to the mission. Everybody's pretty much speculating what's going on. They pull up and see this large traitor standing in the middle of the field. Alan pretty much runs him down. The game, the objective is to win $30,000 at the end of the game. Or at the end of the mission. They have 20 locked crates. I'm just going to read this, y'all. Just to let you know, but we ain't going to spend too much time on it. 20 locked crates are hidden in the forest. They have to find and unlock them. They have to answer a number-based question to open it. They can retrieve what's inside. If they answer incorrectly, it'll explode. 17 crates are filled with gunpowder. They have to collect that, bring it, and load it into a barrel. And at the end of 30 minutes, Alan will press the detonator. And if they have enough gunpowder in there to blow up that traitor, they'll blow it up and they'll win the money. But if nothing happens, they get nothing. But there's 3 crates that contain a shield. So they begin. I'm about to skip through this. The first group, who got the shield first? I think the first person that got the shield was, where we at? Carolyn. Carolyn got the shield. Well, she grabbed the shield first. Did she get the shield? I can't remember. Hold on. I'm trying to skip through this fast. Hold on, y'all. Chrishell ends up getting one. They started playing rock, paper, scissors with Wes and Derek's group. Who got it? Chrishell got one. Damn, where's the rest of them? Chrishell got one. Oh my God, who got one? I think Dylan got one. Yeah, Dylan got one. Chrishell got one. Who the fuck got the other one? I don't know. Y'all tell me. But moving on. We get to the end. They ended up finishing it. They won. Whatever. So they end up heading back to the castle. Danielle, she's in the car with Carolyn, Dolores, Ciara, and I think that was it. Danielle's in the car with Carolyn, Dolores, and Ciara, and she's pretty much kind of like saying like we're gonna work on some girl shit. And Carolyn's body language, because she's sitting right next to Danielle, it was cracking me up because you could tell Carolyn, she can't really hide it. Like if she's irritated with somebody, she just want to let them know. I feel her. Like that's just me. I can't hide it. When I don't like somebody, and I'm itching to say something, it's all over my face. But she said, I ain't going to waste no time pretending to be nice. I'd rather spend my time getting Danielle out. I said, Danielle, I love you, but I can't defend you because you played that sloppy game. Like, you asked for it. But they get back to the castle. And Wes pulls Dolores to the side and tells her that Tom is floating her name around. And he tells her not to worry about it because, like, ain't nobody taking anything that he's saying for what it is. So she's like, I'm not really tripping about it either, but she was tripping about it later on. But Dolores ends up saying that she don't know why he's even doing it. But he clearly hasn't had enough attention in his younger years. But Derek, he's trying to subtly go ahead and drop them seeds to go ahead and get Rob in everybody's head. And he's like, I got to catch him off guard. That's the only way to really do it, which is true. Because you can't give Rob enough time to figure out a plan of how he can defend himself. You got to catch him off guard and hope that he doesn't find a way. But he ends up pulling Ivar. Lost cause. I wouldn't even tried it with him because he's too stupid. But he pulls Ivar and says, like, think about your theory that you brought up last night. He's sitting there struggling trying to think of what the theory he brought up was. I'm like, this is crazy. But Derek is like, I'm thinking about saying the name. Talking about the name that you said, a.k.a. Rob. And I hope I have your support. Then it finally clicks to Ivar. Oh, you talking about Rob? Duh. But Derek says, you've influenced me. So that's all I'm saying. I said it's smart to do it that way, but he's pretty much telling Ivar, like, I'm going to go off of what you said. But Rob ends up saying to Gabby and Tom in another room that he feels like he's onto something. A lot of people are saying that Wes is putting a lot of people's names out, so he's trying to divert their energy onto a bigger player because he knows he has a battle tonight. But Carolyn, she ends up telling Dolores that Danielle is out here throwing her name out to everybody. Dolores says, yes, she is. And Carolyn's sitting there trying to plant the seed now to get Danielle out. So the traitors are, the gamers are coming at each other. And Wes is over there planting the seed with Britney. And she's over there with Sam and Ivar as well. No. Wes is planting the seed with Britney. Sam and Ivar, y'all, I'm tripping. Wes was planting the seed with Britney, Sam, and Ivar about Derek pressing Rob at the table. So he's pretty much trying to get them on board with Derek's theory so they can have the numbers to come at Rob at the Roundtable. And he's like, I got stuff to add to it too. Derek's kind of got some things going on, but I got something too. Britney is now suspicious of Wes because he's essentially puppeteering in her mind. It could look that way, but it's not. But she's thinking like it's coming to be a lie at this point. So she goes to tell Derek about Wes saying that Derek is hunting for Rob. And Derek says technically it's not a lie because that name has been brought up, but it's not my agenda at this point. Pretty much trying to cover his tracks because he's like, why are you defending him so hard? And that's where he says, he's like, when did she become so protective of Rob? Now I'm confident that Britney could possibly be a traitor. That's what Derek's saying because she's been quiet at these roundtables. And if anybody knows Britney, it's true. If anybody knows Britney, you know that girl is not quiet. Britney's, her legacy on Big Brother is her in them confessionals, her one-liners, the things that she says. Britney don't ever shut up. Britney is funny. But Britney being quiet, it does make her look suspicious. But Derek goes to tell Danielle and says, like, you already thought about what I'm thinking right now. And I just hope that I have your support as my friend. And I hope that you'll vote with me. Danielle says, Derek, if he can get the votes to get Rob, she'll get on that horse with him. Chrishell, dumbass, she gets on my nerves. She's telling Rob that he needs to get ready because I'm hearing your name. Why the fuck are you telling him that? Like, if you're hearing his name, why don't you think about why you're hearing his name? And why would you go tell him that? Like, they are swallowing him whole right now. But she ends up asking if he has anything to sway the vote to Wes's side because she doesn't like the way he spoke to her. That has nothing to do with the game, fool. Like, go home. But she gets up to go get water, and because Danielle's in there too. And Rob ends up asking Danielle if she thinks it's true. And Danielle says, like, I've heard everybody saying Wes. So it's looking like Rob, Danielle, and Wes are in the hot seat at the round table. That's 3 gamers. I'm like, this is about to be crazy. So Derek coming into the round table, he's coming for Rob. Rob said he prefers to not have to battle against Wes because he knows he's a strong player. That's going to be a feat for him. But he thinks that he's actively making the case against him. And Carolyn, she's like, I know Danielle is trying to throw me under the bus. And I can no longer hold in the bullshit no more. I'm sick of it. So we get to the round table. Alan gives him the floor. It was suspense like a motherfucker. Because the gamers, I'm like, it's gamers against gamers. So Dolores opens her mouth to start. I'm like, what is she about to say? She ends up saying, I've heard my name has been thrown around a lot. And she's looking at Tom and she says, Tom. He looked shook. Like, why are you saying my name, dumbass? But tells him to go for it. Like, go for it. You've been saying my name. What you got to say? He was not prepared at all. Sitting there talking about something. This is hard. She says, I don't want you to be nervous because I know none of it will make sense. She said, I'm okay with it. I started laughing. That shit cracked me up. But he starts talking and says that the biggest red flag is her not actively asking questions. She said, maybe I'm just not asking them to you. Because why would I ask you? Essentially, she's like, why would I ask you questions? Because I know you don't know anything. Like, what's the purpose? But Derek butts in and is like, okay, this ain't, y'all wasting time. Like, nobody is suspicious of either one of y'all. Like, let's keep it moving. Let's talk about somebody that we're really suspicious of. So Derek ends up saying, well, Dolores ends up saying one thing Bob has said to me I might take to heart tonight. And says, like, essentially, Tom is being a bad faithful. Derek says, let's switch gears. So he says, we found a traitor. That was awesome, but we got the information. But let's recap that night. Rob called him out, talking about Bob the drag queen. Had an amazing speech. We all agreed that Bob the drag queen was caught off guard. Eventually, Bob had to make a choice. Nikki's name was already out there on the table. He chose to target Rob. I said, cook, Derek, cook. Rob was sitting there looking nervous because you got somebody that's coming at you that can really build a case against you. Britney's dumbass sitting over there looking annoyed that he's actually going for Rob. I'm like, why don't you open your ears and listen? Like, listen to what he's saying. But Derek said, fast forward to today at breakfast. What did he say? He said, if I'm a traitor and I'm getting rid of you because you are too dangerous, but you walk in and one of the people that was suggesting you is gone, aka Bob Harper. Hello, that's a traitor. Like, that's what he's saying. I'm like, cook. But Derek ends up saying too, like, when y'all denied him access to the castle on day 1, that created this monster. And I think that him, talking about Alan, who was sitting back there, turned him into a traitor. Derek is on the money. On the money. I said, cook. Rob says, no, I think you're widely misguided. Let me give myself a chance to kind of defend myself. So he says, Bob said at the end of his speech, when he got banished, everything that I said was a lie. Talking about himself, talking about Bob. And Rob ends up saying, this morning, I was scared that I was going to get murdered. And he said it was 50-50 between, in my mind, it was 50-50 between me and Ivar. And Ivar is a proven faithful to everybody. So Bob the drag queen voting for Ivar. So he also then says that I'm hesitant saying this because I know there's traitors sitting around here, but why would they not murder Ivar? Because nobody's ever going to banish him because we know that he's a faithful. When he's at breakfast, and he says too that when he was at breakfast, my mind was blown because I'm like, either me and Ivar still being here, like somebody is very smart and they realize that putting the two of us here and keeping us here is putting a target on me. And he's like, you're doing it right now, essentially talking about Derek. Derek's denying that he's trying to put a target on him, which you are putting a target on him, but the target was already there. But Rob ends up saying that if the traitors are able to target him, they don't have to waste a murder on him because Derek essentially and the rest of the faithfuls will do it for them. That is true. That's a good little argument there. But if you asking me, Derek's argument is a lot stronger right now. But Rob ends up saying, who's smart enough to make that move on me out of everybody here? Who's been causing the most chaos? That's what he's asking. He said, I've heard Danielle's name, I've heard Carolyn's name, and I've heard Dolores' name. And they all came from West. I said, oh shit. Gamer versus gamer versus gamer. Let's see what goes down. So West is sitting there looking dumbfounded. Derek is shaking his head like, here we go. He's trying to divert it to another game player. So basically, in Derek's head, you trying to make it harder for me to really plead my case. Because when you got Derek pleading his case to Rob, that's like, okay, he might be cooking with something. But then when you got Rob throwing it over on Wes, who's also a game player, it's like, okay, so who we gonna choose? So Wes starts. He said, put yourself back in the shoes of us running up with them statues at that mission. He said, Bob the drag queen said, don't forget that we have to get out the 3 guys in the cages. Wes said his theory is that Rob was in the turret with Bob the drag queen. They had an alliance where it was pretty much like, the second you cross me, I'm cutting your throat. And that essentially gave Rob the opportunity to go after another traitor, which was Bob the drag queen. I said, you better cook, Wes, cook. And Rob says, you're flipping it now. I'm like, because you know that they right. But Tom is sitting there looking scared as shit, like just lost. But Wes says 3 minutes fast forward, you went straight for going after Bob the drag queen. And Rob says that's a lie. No, it's not. It's the truth. But you got to deny it. But Gabby then pipes in and says she'd like to say that Wes in the convos about who's a traitor, he's always looking for one name and getting people to stick with him so that when they get in the roundtable, pretty much she'll have the numbers to still be safe even if it goes another way. And she's like, I don't see the point of having blind loyalty except for wanting numbers to make sure that you're safe. I said, Gabby, duh. If you're going to choose to come to the roundtable and actually really come with some evidence and really kind of shoot towards somebody, you want to have backup. You want to have people that want to actually vote towards what you're doing to make sure that what you're saying is going to actually work. Like, what are you talking about? But Chrishell's dumbass then butts in too, saying stupid shit, saying maybe it's the way that you play the game, but it comes across aggressive when he pressures people to give a name. Wes says, I am aggressive. Like, that's how I've always been, essentially, for 20 years. But that's why I'm the most winningest player at this table, just being his cocky self. And he says, but that's what a bad traitor would do, which is run around being aggressive. I said, that's true. Danielle, he talking about you. You need to calm down. But Wes says, I'll dial it back, but the 1 or 2 people who make the mistake to vote for me, I got my eye on you. I said, sir, that's not helping your case. Like, why would you say that? Why would you say that? And of course, the girls are now feeling like that's a threat, which it is, but it's like, Wes. But Rob is sitting there twisting the knife, kind of like egging it on too. But Carolyn says, hold up. I said, oh shit, here we go. Here we go. Carolyn says, Wes is being used as a scapegoat, clearly. Like, there's been multiple lies going around. And I'm going to just be real. I don't fit in with y'all. I don't fit in the real world. Coming into this game, I didn't have a ton of allies, but I did find one in Danielle until recently. I said, oh, shit, here we go. And she says, several people have come up to me telling me that Danielle has been saying my name, creating lies and chaos. She said, it's not personal. Danielle says it is. It is personal. It is personal, Carolyn. It is. But Carolyn says, I'm just emotional and the evidence is being overlooked because I'm emotional. She ends up saying, too, that someone came to me in the kitchen saying that my name had came out. And I know it was, what'd she say? She said someone came to me in the kitchen saying that I put somebody's name out and I know it was you that was starting it. And Britney pipes up and says that I went to Carolyn and said, did you throw my name out? And Danielle was like, yeah, you did, talking about Carolyn. And Carolyn says, I never threw Britney's name out. Danielle says, you did. I'm not lying here. I'm trying to remember, but I can swear, I feel like Danielle is not lying in this moment. If I recall correctly, in one of them turrets, she did throw out Britney's name, if I'm remembering correctly. Y'all tell me if I'm wrong. But I feel like I'm right. But Carolyn starts crying and says that she knew it was Danielle immediately whenever Britney said what she said because she heard it from so many people. And it's easy to say that Wes is causing the most chaos, but in actuality, it's Danielle. It's true. But Danielle ends up saying, I'm not. You're making it personal. Carolyn says, Jeremy warned me. And I still believed you. But now Jeremy is murdered. I said, oh, shit. But Dylan is sitting there asking for final thoughts. And Derek says, like, I knew emotions would get involved, but I can't imagine how dumb we all would look if y'all vote out Wes because of how he irritates all of y'all. I said, right, steer it back to Rob. But Derek says, I'm going with facts. I will be voting for Rob. Alan gets to voting. Derek's sitting there mouthing to Britney, and I think he might have been mouthing to Dylan, saying like, it's Rob, vote for Rob. Britney's dumbass is over there trying to steer Dylan away from voting for Rob. I said, y'all are dumbasses. Get his dick out y'all's mouth. But Dylan is sitting there looking at Rob, looking at him like, you can tell he's like thinking about it, but he's like looking at Rob like, I'm not going to do that to you. I'm like, take the fan out of it. You're here to play a game. Yes, you fanned out over him, but he's trying to take the money from you. Like, you, come on. But Rob, he's tripping out because it's like Carolyn coming for Danielle, and he's on the chopping block. It's like all traitors are literally at risk at this point. But Danielle says that she would love for Rob to get banished today, but she knows if she writes him down and he doesn't go, that puts the target on her. But then she also got Carolyn coming for us. I'm like, you in a pickle right now. It's your fault, Danielle. You shouldn't have did that shit with Carolyn, because then you can kind of hide a little bit. But Dylan ends up voting for Wes. Dumbass. Carolyn votes for Danielle as expected. Wes votes for Rob as expected. Sam's dumbass votes for Wes. Ivar's dumbass votes for Wes. Rob votes for Wes as expected. Dolores votes for Tom. I'm like, be for real. Like, wasted vote. Because you know damn well that man is not no traitor. But Danielle ends up voting for Rob. I said, oh, shit. Because I'm like, good. Because we need more votes in Rob's favor. And said that she was leaning towards Wes, but she had to go with the facts. I said, oh, shit. This could get ugly for you, Danielle. Because you already got Carolyn against you. And Rob will go against you just for going against him. But Gabby, she shocked me. I thought she was going to vote for Wes. She voted for Rob. She said Derek's argument was stronger, which it was. I'm like, okay, Gabby, you smarter than the rest of your faithfuls. Derek voted for Rob, obviously. Tom, his dumb ass believed Derek. I said, oh, wow. Okay, good. Good. He voted for Rob. Dumbass Chrishell voted for Wes because he threatened him. Like, go the fuck home. Like, you wasting votes. Britney voted for Wes, dumbass. Ciara had the last vote because it was literally a toss-up between Wes and Rob. And she voted for Wes, dumbass. I'm like, did you forget what you said earlier in the day? Talking about it's uncomfortable what you saying it's your gun for people. Where's your brain, Ciara? But Wes ends up getting banished, and he was like, Wes got up there, and I wrote it down verbatim. I got to repeat it because he shot them down. He said, I'm going to tell y'all right now, I'm one of the greatest reality game players of all time. It is true. He said, better than everybody here, and you win playing aggressively. He said that I wanted nothing more coming in here to be a traitor because I don't care about any of y'all. I said, I feel it. He said, y'all are all chess pieces on a board, and all the people that have died until I got to this circle, I had no idea who killed them because I am a faithful and said, fuck all y'all, and left. I said, I ain't mad at you. They sitting there looking stupid, and Derek is sitting there shaking his head like, he says, y'all forgot that when we're voting, traitors are voting as well. I'm like, hit him on the head, Derek. Like, take a brick and knock him out. But they disperse. Rob is thanking Ciara, Dylan, and Britney for voting and believing in him, obviously. Like, you got the three idiots over there. And he's literally reiterating to them that he's a faithful. They're eating it up. Britney ends up pulling Derek, saying that you such a dirty dirtbag liar. Because when I came and asked you if you was leading a charge against Rob, you said no. What does that have to do with anything, Britney? Why don't you listen to what he was saying at the Roundtable? It all made sense. Regardless if he was lying to you or not, it made sense. But Derek ends up saying, like, you want to know why? Because you suddenly have been hanging out with Rob so much. Like, I saw you tell Dylan before the vote to not vote for Rob. And she ends up saying that she don't think that Rob is a traitor. I said, because you're gullible. Like, think logically. Like, coming from a game show, you would think she would come into the show expecting Rob to be chosen as a traitor. Like, Rob screams traitor. Like, he screams traitor, Wes screams traitor, Derek screams traitor, Danielle screams traitor. I would have immediately been thinking of them anyways, but I'd have really been looking at them the whole time, trying to really be like, yeah, they really are probably a traitor for real. But Derek says, maybe you're a traitor. I said, get her. And she said, are you being serious? He said, yeah, I'm being dead serious. And she's like, I didn't believe in Wes because he's shady as hell. I said, Rob isn't. Derek ends up saying there was no smart arguments against Wes. And he said, like, mine, I was in there beating Rob. And he was in there tearing Rob up. And he's like, essentially, it's not rocket science. But Britney ends up talking about how he's mad at her when he lied in her face. I said, shut up. Just shut up. But Derek pulls Dylan to the side, pretty much telling him that I think that Rob and Britney are traitors. And she was supposed to come in this game being my number one because we are from Big Brother. And I'm sitting here thinking, why would she be defending somebody that she just met so hard like she is? Because she's a traitor. Britney comes walking in as they're talking, and she immediately walks out. And he says she don't want to sit down with me because she knows that I will tear her up and eat her alive. And I said, that's true. She knows that. But Dylan says that she, talking about Britney, has been flying under the radar. And Derek says, yeah, like, I'm going to get murdered. And Rob is going to go and say, they're framing me for this. They're framing me for this. But they end up going to bed. This is where it gets funny. The end of the episode. The traitors, they go meet in the turret. They're all three standing there, smirking, in silence for like a good, 10, 20 seconds. I said, this is crazy. Carolyn says, we don't need to lie to each other. It's all out there. I guess we just going to have to keep it going. Pretty much saying, like, we're going to have to keep going for each other at this point. And Rob says, I thought yesterday we made an agreement to not go after each other. But you voted for Danielle, and Danielle voted for me, and it's just messed up at this point. Danielle said, let me just be honest. My paranoia started when you came for Bob. And Rob was like, well, he came for me. Danielle said he never said your name. Danielle said that you never said that you were going to go after him at the Roundtable. And Rob says that I didn't know that I was going to do it until we got to that Roundtable. I said, lie. You knew that you was going to do it the minute that he said, oh, the three new guys might be a traitor. Like, stop lying. But Danielle is saying, like, he never said your name. Rob says that does he have to? Like, he said the three new guys. He alluded to that. I said, exactly. But Danielle ends up saying that everybody was thinking that it was Wes. Rob says that he still said the three new guys. Like, he was essentially writing my death certificate. If it came down to it and everybody wanted to get out all three new guys, they're going to try and get me as well. But Danielle ends up saying, well, actually, Carolyn, she ends up saying, of course you will go after Rob, talking to Danielle, after you've been planting seeds to get me out. Danielle says, I didn't say your name today. She didn't, but she already fucked up because she already did it the day before. I'm like, that's your fault, Danielle. You did it the day before. But Carolyn says, so many people came up to me. Danielle says, it was yesterday. Carolyn says, so why would you do that? Like, you were making up lies saying that I was coming for Britney. Danielle says, you did. Carolyn and Rob look so dumbfounded. Danielle says, you brought up killing her when we was doing the deliberations at the church. I'm cracking up because it was just silence. She shut them up. It was silence for the longest time, and they just sitting there staring at each other. I said, they hate each other. Like, I hate them as traitors, but this, like, dissension between them is so entertaining to watch. In a bad way, like, in terms of them being traitors, they suck as traitors. But for entertainment, them being like this, boy, I was entertained. This shit cracked me up. But Carolyn broke the silence and said, so, I'll just let her know what happened in the turret. Come on, girl. Like, you can't be serious. I died laughing because Carolyn was right. I'm like, what's she supposed to do? Say, well, I went and said your name. I said that I wanted to murder you in the turret. Pretty much giving away that I'm a traitor. But Rob says, like, I didn't, what did he say? Rob said that he didn't even know what to do. Carolyn says, like, we got to go after Danielle. Sitting there smirking in her face. I started laughing. I said, this girl is unhinged. But Danielle says, whatever you say, I'll fight back. So if you bring it, I'm going to bring it back. So they going at it at this point. Carolyn said a bunch of lies. Danielle says, we can bring up facts. Carolyn says, about what? You have nothing on me. Danielle says, I got plenty. I said, oh, spicy. We getting active. And Rob was sitting there shook because they were just going at it. And Carolyn says, it's obvious the game that you're playing. You want to get rid of us, me and Rob, so that you appear to be the most faithful traitor. Nobody will suspect you and you'll get all the way to the end. But bring it on. I said, it's about to get messy. Next week, they barely showed anything, which I'm glad they did. But damn, I was struggling to get through it because I'm too excited. But y'all let me know what y'all think down below if you thugged it through. Thumbs up the video. Y'all know that helps so much. Subscribe if you are new here. I will see y'all next week. Peace.